Okay, our last section here in this lesson is about market economies. Um, so, market economy is an economy where the market, the marketplace, sets the price, sets what is bought and sold, what is made and produced. Um, they mention the dollar vote, right? That every time I spend one of my dollars, I'm basically voting for that company. And of course, I'm going to spend my dollars in places that I like. I will have choices in a market economy. I don't have to go to the government burger place. I can go to In-N-Out because I like In-N-Out or The Habit or Fat Burger. I mean, I can avoid places that I don't like. I try not to trash on places in these videos, so I'm not going to mention any burgers that I find disgusting. McDonald's. Um, but anyways, yeah. So the United States market economies are also largely considered to be free trade economies, or maybe laissez-faire style economies, economies where the government stays out. Just to go back to the history on this, during the 1700s, there was a French economic society that was meeting in Paris and other big cities throughout France. And they were discussing ideas like the government should really stay out of the economy and allow individuals to start their own businesses, to um, be whatever they want to be, to set the economy however they wanted to, and that the government shouldn't be tariffing stuff made out of country. They shouldn't be picking winners and losers. They shouldn't be allowing for or encouraging monopolies of their chosen companies, but instead they should try to allow for free trade. Um, in the late 1700s, a guy named Adam Smith is an Englishman. He writes a book where he takes a lot of these ideas, throws them all together because he speaks English. He's the guy that we hear of the most as having come up with these ideas, but laissez-faire is a French word, so we can actually trace this all the way back to France. A few decades before Adam Smith, he got his ideas from that French economic society. Um, this is capitalism, right? And if you look, we have examples of economies. Now, I did not make this chart, but I've been saying this all year. Um, Pure market economies, pure capitalism, there are none. Okay, there are zero examples of pure capitalism. I was told in college that the closest thing isn't the United States, but is instead maybe Hong Kong, I think, where he had always mentioned as being more capitalist society. Um, but the US is one of the most capitalist societies in the world. We have Mexico being a little more socialist. I think that the government owns the oil company there. They have a free healthcare for all and that kind of thing. In Sweden, the government provides more. I'm not sure they own businesses like they do in Mexico, but they free healthcare, free college, free childcare, a lot of social advantages, high taxes on the super rich. Russia, where the government does own a lot of businesses, including the oil company. Oil companies are very profitable. So we're going to find the government oftentimes gets involved in oil or coal or copper mines or other type of things. They also provide their citizens with a lot of benefits. Um, and then we have mainland China, which is very communist. This is a place where in the cities, they may be kind of, I don't know, around here, the Swedish model in Chinese cities, but in the Chinese countryside, they might as well be North Korea. They're still getting vouchers, largely government subsidies for housing, for food, for government providing them with jobs. Um, so China's kind of this weird mix. As the cities grow, they slowly move this way, but they are a communist country, um, but a mixed communist country. So what are the advantages of a market economy? Well, one advantage is that you can choose whatever you want to be. Okay, I chose to be a teacher. No one gave me this job. They didn't, in old Soviet Union, which was very communist, which was probably in between here and maybe around here. Um, they used to not only, my mother-in-law lived in Soviet Russia all the way until the 80s. They gave her a place to live. They gave her an apartment. It's hers, right? Um, a job, clothes, food vouchers, um, everything you need, they would give to you. But there wasn't any, um, there wasn't very much opportunity for advancement. You kind of got stuck, pigeonholed into a particular role. They would take you at a young age and they would choose your career for you. So if you scored well on reading or math tests as a elementary kid, they would push you in certain directions, engineering maybe, if it was math, maybe lawyering or teaching or doctoring if it's your reading. They would take great athletes and put them into an athletic program. And for the people who didn't score well, they would just turn into factory workers and low-level menial labor from birth, from elementary, excuse me. They would start this program. She also would tell me there was a lot of trading going on. There was this underground economy. So she worked on the Siberian Railroad in a restaurant car. And she would have to bribe the cops with free meals so that they would protect her. She would also go to the clothing store when her son ripped his pants and he ran out of, you only get one pair of pants. I don't know how often, a year or 6 months or whatever. And she would trade, hey, I'll trade you a meal for a pair of pants. There was a large underground economy that we very rarely hear about in this communist system, communist Russia. So yeah, individual freedom. Number one, very little government interference. Also kind of connected there. You get a variety of goods. If you could only buy government burgers, there was one burger place, it was the government burger. They used to have government grocery stores, government cheese, government car, government everything. You'd be stuck with it. You don't have that choice. Where now I have all the burger places I want. I go into Ralph's, and, whatever grocery store, and there's just tons of choices there for me. Also competition. Competition makes you better. Or lack of competition makes you worse or maybe lazy. That's why In-N-Out's so good, is because they know that if they weren't delicious and they weren't reasonably priced, we'd go somewhere else. And I don't know why. Well, I'm not going to trash on any food places. This whole thing is like me just making fun of different food places, but I just can't imagine why anyone would go to some of these burger places that exist out there. It's just so bad. What do you? Is it the toy? That's the selling point, or playground? I mean, what do we got going on here? I don't know. I'm sorry. So the competition makes your product better. It can also make it worse. I mean, you can even take that level at all sorts of areas of life, right? Let me say it like this: when I was a kid, I was oftentimes the best basketball player around. Okay, I was all league 2 years. I was almost 20 a game my senior year. My junior year, I was varsity. Similar numbers, 15, and I didn't get much better because I didn't push myself. And when I got to college, I was surrounded by a bunch of guys that were just bigger, stronger, and faster than me. And the only way for me to keep up was to become bigger, stronger, and faster, right? And better. And I did, because if not, I wouldn't have made it. So it's really true. I mean, you ever see pictures of like Kobe Bryant as an 11-year-old playing in like professional Italians men's league? I'm sure they didn't hurt him because he was smaller than them. But he was forced to be faster. He was forced to work on his game more, and this competition really does elevate the product. If I had a choice between different pizza places, which I do, I'm always talking about food here. Shoot, I would definitely go with CPK, right? Big Mom and Papa's. I would not be eating Domino's. Not that Domino's is awful. My daughter's like a Little Caesar. why? I guess it's the price, but they don't pay for it. Why would they like you eat that? I don't understand. Okay, I'm sorry. Too much talk on food. Um, but yeah, it really is. Competition can make your product better. Um, and some of the disadvantages of a market economy is that not everyone is taken care of. Look, in communist Soviet Russia, during that period, no one starved. Everyone had food. Everyone had a job. Everyone had an apartment. They weren't fancy. They were really not nice, but they weren't on the street. There was no homeless, right? And we know we have homeless problems in our country. Um, we have tent cities springing up all over the place. We have we have lines at the food bank ever since coronavirus came out that are like wait in line for a whole day just to get food. I mean, um, that doesn't exist in socialist, or excuse me, in extreme communist countries, or even in socialist countries. They make sure that everyone has food on the table and a roof over their head. Now, after that, but there's also not that opportunity for advancement. You can get crazy rich in a capitalist society. Ask Jeff Bezos or Mark Zuckerberg, who was a student, when he started up his misogynistic websites out there, which eventually turned into Facebook. The guy's rolling around in money. Seriously, he's like Scrooge McDuck just taking baths. Okay, maybe that's a little before your time. Um, so yeah, if I was you, I'd be prepared to answer some questions on um, advantages and disadvantages of market societies or um, command society economies or traditional. I would know 5 if I was you.